Rivers of a Dream by Billy Joel at number 2 on my fancy playlist. Billy Joel, that's right. Fancy playlist, October 17th, 1993. River of a Dream, number 1. Had it up at number 1 the previous week. It was I forgot just how big this record was. Went to number 3. Was. My southern accent coming through was. Just forgot how big that record was. Went to number 3 in the UK, number 3 here in the States, number 1 in New Zealand, top 5 in the Netherlands, number 7 in Iceland, top 10 in Ireland, all over the world. Billy Joel, nominated for Grammy, Award for Record of the Year, 1994, but lost out to Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. One of the guys who played on the album was called Rivers of a Dream. One of the people who played on this album, a lot of talented people played on this record, but one of them stood out with me. Danny Cooch Kortchmar. Danny Cooch Kortchmar, legendary session guitar player. He produced this album. He co-produced this album. He played on John Bon Jovi's album, Blaze of Glory. Remember that one that came out in 1990? He played on that album and co-produced it. He played on Sweet Baby James by James Taylor. Played on Tapestry by Carole King. At one time, he was much, much in demand as a session guitarist. Played on this record, Danny Cooch Kortchmar. I believe I pronounced his last name correctly. There are about 3 or 4 versions of this record. Got kind of a calypso sound to it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Walking on the Chinese Wall by Philip Bailey that came out in 1985. And there are like 3 or 4 different versions of this record. There's one version on his box set, on Billy Joel's box set, My Lives, and you can also find another version of this song on his Complete Hits collection from 1993 through 1999. My goodness, what a talent, Billy Joel. I really do appreciate him a lot more now than I did back in the day. Started out with songs like Piano Man, The Entertainer, The Entertainer, or I Am the Entertainer, and that singer-songwriting tradition, and then got a little bit more mainstream in the late 70s. By 1980, though, there's a little bit of that nostalgic influence. It's still rock and roll to me, that sparse guitar, even though a lot of people thought, well, he's being influenced by the new wave acts. It sounded more like a 50s rockabilly record. A sparse 50s rockabilly record. Billy Joel reaching back deep into his musical DNA, back into the sock off years. And then there was Tell Her About It, sort of a 60s, almost a Young Rascals, a Motown sounding record. And of course the Four Seasons send up Uptown Girl that came out in 1983. I believe this was his only studio album in the 1990s. This would be his last really big hit, Rivers of a Dream by Billy Joel. One of the things that drew me to this record, it had sort of a 50s sound to it. Remind me of the Drifters, late 50s, early 60s, and more specifically, it kind of reminds me, there's a faint echo there of Clyde McPhatter's 1958 hit, A Lover's Question. It's got that feel to it, that aura, that persona, as if it was updated for the 90s, that old Clyde McPhatter record. Well, anyway, I hope he's flattered that I compared this record to Clyde McPhatter. Nothing wrong with that. The original lead singer of the Drifters back in the 50s, Clyde McPhatter. Billy Joel, Rivers of a Dream at number 2 on my fancy playlist, October 17th, 1993.